Welcome to Three Men and a Movie, where today we're reviewing the film Let the Right One In, which is a Swedish vampire movie. I don't think this film's about vampires. I think this film is about addiction. The lead character doesn't want to be a vampire. She has an addiction. She needs blood, and I thought it was more like a heroin addict film than a vampire film. I thought it was like everything you have to do to be an addict, that you ruin everybody's lives around you, and you have to continually ruin people, and you're trying to do it just for your own satisfaction because you want to feel great.
It's what happens if you're a vampire. You have to do that. And for me, though, it was a film about friendship and bullying.
Yeah. What was it about for you? For me, it was about addiction. For you, it was about bullying. What did you get from
Swedish vampires.
He's nailed it. He's nailed it right on the head with that one.
You know, I'm pretty perceptive, aren't I? But you know, for me, I thought I got it pretty much off the bat. Really, Swedish vampires. It's not sort of glamour vampires. It's not like a big castle in Transylvania and a big cape. It's proper sort of low income.
It's realistic
vampire stuff in it.
But the special effects are brilliant because they were just right. They're there for a purpose to help the story go. It's a story, not a film about vampires.
You don't even know she's got special powers until about halfway through.
No, you don't.
Well, there was a very subtle early scene where she jumped off the shelf. And you suddenly thought, was she jumping in slow-mo, wasn't she? And she was perfectly done.
What I found really fascinating about the film was, the directing is just beautiful. None of this sort of handheld nonsense.
Found a director he finally liked.
He's changed, hasn't he?
But he had these amazing locked-off shots where people would act in the scene rather than
big wide shots.
Rather than that. What's that film, Born Ultimatum or whatever, where it was also like.
But you can understand why that's a slightly different film, but.
But everything was beautiful. It was all, and the colours were really great. And I'm sounding quite poncy here, but it was so lovely to watch. And what I thought was amazing about it was the lack of film score. There was a film score running through it, but so many of the scenes there was no film score. So you'd have like some really dramatic stuff happening, but it was just happening with the natural, normal, the sound effects that they put on afterwards. There was no film score, so it lacked that thing where you're going, this is scary. Because there was no, it was just, you were just watching someone string a man up from a tree or something, and there was no film score, and it just seemed okay.
Yeah, the whole thing was it was poetic above everything else, I think.
Yeah, and I think the landscape helped a lot. There's a lot of sort of pine forests and wide, expansive shots. That were just a lot of the shots were just static, weren't they? So it was all about you were just sort of watching everything that was going on rather than it being chopped up here and there. And
the lead boy was amazing looking, wasn't he, with his hair and everything, and the characters, they all looked great, didn't they? It was really, and their language, because obviously it's in Swedish with subtitles, it's actually really nice language, isn't it?
You know what, I was quite annoyed because there was a bloke with quite a big head. You know, like the subtitles were always at the bottom of the screen. Yeah. He had a big head, so I was like having to sort of watch it like that.
Not everyone's going to have that then.
No,
well,
I found when I left there that it was, I said afterwards, I was very thoughtful, but also very mellow. It's not like coming out of a horror film. I just felt really like, it's a really nice experience. I wish everyone could go and watch that film. What was the famous one which was set in snow, actually? Fargo.
It's very similar.
Like that because it's so slow,
yeah.
And yet you don't want it to end. You're just sitting there going, I'm really enjoying my experience here. And there's not one moment in a horror film that you're going, is there really? You're just watching, and it's really, it's as I say, and it's beautiful. Would you say it's beautiful, Joe?
I would, yeah. It's beautiful in its sparseness.
Yeah, all of this talk of it being beautiful, I don't want anyone to think that means it's dull.
Well,
it's a great film. It's just a different pace to most films.
Yeah, it's slow but really works well. Didn't you think, I really want to go to Sweden?
Don't go cheap though, because the airport's miles out of Stockholm.
Okay.
We've done an interview with the director for 1%, and much of what you said will delight him. He says you can watch this film with the sound turned off.
Yeah.
Because it's not dialogue driven.
No.
And what he also said is what he wanted to do is have a dialogue in the viewer's head. So a lot of it is left open to interpretation.
And what I think will be beautiful about this film is there'll be loads of people who'll go and see it thinking, I'm going to go and see a vampire film. Oh, come on, blood, guts and gore. And they'll be sitting there and it might open their eyes to a new genre of films, basically. I understand this film, though, has already been American remake.
Yeah, that's worrying me, and apparently it's worrying the director too, because you can see when it goes to America
Like
what they'll do with it.
Nikita's such a beautiful film, went to America and turned into Bridget Fonda film, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'll turn it into an action-packed gore fest, won't they?
Yeah.
And it's not about that.
As we always do, would you recommend people go and see it? Joe?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely.
Neil?
I can't recommend it highly enough. It's a Swedish film. You don't need to be embarrassed to watch.
Okay, I think, go and see it. I mean, if you can get to the cinema and see it, that's great. Otherwise, wait till it comes out on DVD or whatever, but definitely see it because it is absolutely brilliant. I loved it.